G'day Eric, the restrained swamp wallaby. Have you heard about the West Australian Liberal National Government's shark blood sacrifice? Their voodoo economics? What seems to be going on is that their tourist traps aren't catching them enough money. And they've decided that that's because there's a downturn in the tourist trade. And instead of accepting the fact that there's a downturn in the tourist trade because the world economy is tanking and nobody's got enough money to fly to Western Australia to have a holiday, they've decided that what it must be is because everybody's afraid of getting eaten by a shark. Because in 3 years, 7 people have been killed by sharks. I don't know whether that's Australia-wide or just in West Australia, but let's say it's West Australia. So, simultaneously, there's a bunch of people called commercial fishermen who've caught all the fish in the ocean and they can't make a living out of being a commercial fisherman, and they've decided that because seals eat fish and they can't make a living catching fish, there must be a plague proportion of seals, and because the sharks can't find a fish to eat, they're also eating the seals, so they've decided that it's a plague of seals that's caused the plague of sharks. And therefore they want the government, seeing as they can't make any money as a commercial fisherman, they want the government to use the taxpayers' funds to pay them to run around and lay drum lines with baits on them off the beach to attract as many sharks as possible to the beach, and hope that out of them sharks that get attracted by the baited drum lines, that they're all going to go and hook themselves up so that they can be shot and the commercial fishermen can be paid to do that. So there's going to be commercial fishermen on every beach. Instead of having one bloke in one aeroplane flying up and down a whole lot of beaches, we're going to pay for swarms of bloody boats, out of work commercial fishermen who've put themselves out of work by catching all the fish in the ocean. Now this is going over well with other Liberal national governments. I mean, it's the Liberal national government in Canberra that's given the federal okay to persecute and cull a protected species, the great white shark. And of course the commercial fishermen can't tell a great white shark from a fucking wobbegong, so they've been hooking and killing all manner of sharks, calling them great whites. Oh, that bronze whaler over there, we'll call it a great white. We'll call it a tiger shark perhaps. But up in Queensland they've decided they might have to start shooting the crocodiles that are migrating south, and you know, the crocodiles are going to take over where the Bikies left off, because when the Queensland Chamber of Commerce noted there was a downturn in the trade of their tourist trappery, what did they do? They said, oh, everybody must be too afraid of the bikie violence to come to Queensland and spend their money. Yeah, see, even a swamp wallaby knows it's a fucking stupid strategy. But the people who live in the suburbs, they apparently relate much closer to the bean counters and the accountants and the would-be wannabe profiteers at the Chamber of Commerce, and as far as they're concerned, they're fixating on the idea that, oh, a shark's life is not as important as a person's life. But the fact is, the entire ecology is more important than any one busyness plan to make a profit by harvesting some kind of surplus. And at the moment it's an ecological surplus of a living ocean with pristine beaches. That's what the West Australian Chamber of Commerce is trying to sell. It's what the Queensland Chamber of Commerce is trying to sell. So it sort of seems to me that prioritising the ka-chunk ding of the cash register at the tourist trap, which is trying to sell a pristine ecology, over the actual existence of a pristine ecology by allowing the ecology to have top predators, which is what regulates the ecology. It's just, it's a feedback loop leading to nowhere. It's insane. It's not going to work in the long term. VB Ed's fallen into the camp that, oh well, we might as well cull the seals because that'll stop the plague of the sharks. Fact is, there isn't any plague of any animal in Western Australia except Homo sapiens, the greedy bastards who think they think. When the white people first showed up in Tasmania, the Derwent River was so full of southern right whales that they couldn't sleep in their tents for the noise of the whales breathing, and they weren't going to put a rowboat in the river because there were so many whales so thickly there that it wasn't safe in a rowboat. Now, was that a plague of whales? Or in a pristine environment, was that just how many whales there are supposed to be? The fact that people are eating sharks in the fish and chip shops doesn't mean that it's a clever idea to hang drum lines with bleeding baits around the populated beaches to try and attract sharks to the beaches so that the government can stand up there in front of a camera and claim that they're trying to do something. It's flawed thinking, it's illogical, it's childish, it's immature, it's greedy, it's selfish, and it's doomed to fail. And it, as people are saying all around the world, it paints Western Australians as idiots and cavemen and greedy half-wits. So, clean up your act, fellas. Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Ciao.